Guys, what's going on here? It's your boy Finn Martin, and I'm just saying, as you can see here, we are going to be watching a YouTube video here that as you can see up here, it says people pay money to touch me. I wonder why it says people pay money to touch me. So let's watch this.
Can you imagine having criminals
here,
for
I'm
parents?
so sorry, guys.
Well, I didn't have to imagine at all. My
go.
mom and dad were both scammers. They weren't always that way, though. They hadn't been to college, and they didn't have any real skills, so they had very...
Already, though, who the heck doesn't go to college? Come on now. Who the heck doesn't go to college?
Ordinary jobs. They weren't satisfied with how much money they were making.
Still.
We'd have enough money for food, and we had a little house. But when my mom became pregnant with my baby brother, they grew more and more dissatisfied with our lives. They wanted big money and fast. Before I continue, please don't forget to like my video and subscribe to this channel. If you do this, you will live a long and prosperous life. And
as you heard that, guys, please do the same for her channel and do the same for my channel, please. And you'll see, look, she'll tell you again.
Subscribe to this channel. If you do this, you will live a long and prosperous life. And you'll never have to cheat to succeed like my awful parents did.
So, as you guys can see here, please like and subscribe. And I forgot to plug in my mic again. So I just did. So it'll probably be a little bit louder.
So, they began with email scams. My father pretended to be a wealthy European man who wanted to donate half of his billions to an honest person. He'd send thousands of emails a day, and believe me, he got replies. In order for the victims to receive their billions, they'd have to send him $2,000 first. He promised that after they sent the money, he'd process their billions of dollars. Sure enough, after they sent the $2,000, my dad would stop talking to them. "Dad, why do you do this? It's dishonest," I said one night.
What the heck would they do? Why the heck would the dad do that? Isn't the dad supposed to be teaching that girl?
"That's no way to speak to your father, you ungrateful brat," my mom screamed. "Don't be too hard on her, Monica. Caroline, darling, if people are stupid enough to fall for these tricks, then they deserve to have their money taken from them. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there. Eat or you'll be eaten. Plus, I can buy you whatever you want now. Doesn't that make you happy?" he asked. I sighed and walked away. He did have a point. After a few months, my dad bought a new...
Who the heck cares if your dad can buy you whatever you want? What about other people's lives? Would you rather get them to go homeless?
...new luxury vehicle and took us on a vacation to Disneyland. We were having lots of fun. Although the email scams were successful, as my parents made more, they wanted more. So they brainstormed for a bit and came to a conclusion. They decided to rent an office in town. My father then pretended to be a man called Sorcerer Blaze, who could heal all illnesses and problems. You might remember him from the video, "I'm Allergic to Girls." He mixed different colors of powdered juice into different glass bottles and called them potions. He advertised on TV and paid for ads on Facebook and Instagram. In no time, he was full of customers. At first, this went pretty well, but as time went by, my dad decided that it cost too much to refrigerate the juice, so he kept them out of the fridge. After a while, some of the juices started to go rancid. My dad was so busy counting his money that he didn't even notice until the police showed up on our doorsteps one afternoon, claiming that he had poisoned several people. They raided the office and seized everything that same day. My dad realized that he would probably be arrested soon, so he had us pack up everything that same night. Where are we going?
So what? If you're gonna get arrested for poisoning people, you poisoned people. Don't move. You need to go with the flow. You know?
"Why do I have to come?" I whined. "To an island. I've got a new idea," he grinned. "It's an excellent..."
How the heck are you gonna get to an island in the first place when the police are trying to look for you? What are you gonna take? Are you gonna buy a boat and go over there? Buy a private plane?
"Excellent idea," echoed my mom. We flew out that same night. I was very angry that I had to change my whole life for my criminal parents. Imagine living in one place for your entire life, then suddenly your parents decide that your friendships, school, and habits didn't matter anymore. so frustrating. Our journey took 21 hours, including layovers. My father spent a lot of time on his laptop in the airport.
21 hours? And besides, how the heck will he be on his laptop there when there's like no internet? What, is he going to pay them like $5 billion to get one little bit of internet?
And while we were on the plane, I figured he was just trying to organize accommodations for us. When we arrived on the island, I was disappointed. The airport was an old wooden structure, and the workers there looked very laid back. When we got our luggage, we went to wait for a taxi. Almost all the cars looked old, and when I looked around, I felt that it looked so primitive. We got into the taxi, and my dad gave the driver our address. After a journey that lasted at least 1 hour, the taxi pulled up and
1 hour for a drive to a house? I would die. I would rather die than do that.
in front of a decently sized house, which looked quite
Well, at least
comfortable.
it's a good
This
house.
is our house, said my dad. How did you manage to buy a house so quickly? I asked. I'm just really clever, he winked. Stop doubting your parents, my mom nagged. I went inside and picked one of the most spacious bedrooms. It had a beautiful view of the sea. Now listen, Caroline, you have to delete.
Hold up here, guys. Did you see that kid? Like, jeez.
So quickly,
Wait.
I asked. I'm just really clever, he winked.
Hold on a
Stop
minute,
doubting your
guys.
parents. My
Doesn't that guy there look like a 20-year-old and the mom's holding him? What the heck?
mom nagged. I went inside and picked one of the most spacious bedrooms.
Doesn't he look like... Wait. Oh, that's the mom's arm. Like, seriously though, guys. Doesn't... He looks like a 10-year-old. Being carried around, and she looks like a 50-year-old. And she looks like a 60-year-old, and he looks like a 100-year-old man. Or a 70-year-old. What the heck?
It had a beautiful
God.
view of the sea. Now listen, Caroline, you have to delete all your social media accounts. And here's a new phone with a new number. You can't tell anyone where we are. My dad said to me while I was unpacking. We went to buy some local food that night and came back to our house to eat it. While we sat around the dinner table, my father explained his new idea. So, I'm sure you're all excited to hear about my new idea, he said. Not particularly, I replied. Don't be rude. Anyway, we are here to start a religion. According to my research, the people who live here are extremely superstitious and very, very gullible. So this will be easy. I've made up a story about a holy leaf falling on my head while I was walking through the forest. There was writing on this leaf which contained all the information necessary for...
Who the heck would care about a leaf there? That's just a dream, buddy. Just saying that, like, you're saying, like, a 70-year-old man is saying to, like, a 50-year-old lady and a 60-year-old mom and then a 10-year-old son about a leaf that you had a dream of.
having a happy and successful life. I have been chosen as the great prophet to carry on this message to the
Ooh, you've
world,
been
he said.
chosen.
I stared at him blankly while he continued. I have already rented a big assembly hall where my followers will gather. I just have to work on getting the followers, he said while looking like he was in deep thought. Yay! My mom clapped.
Yay.
I've married such a perfect...
What the heck? One question here, guys. Who the heck claps like that? Like, yay.
man. I rolled my eyes. After a few
Yeah,
weeks,
see,
my
that's what
dad's
50-year-old
bogus religion had
well, that's
many
what I would
followers.
do.
He had made pamphlets which he distributed in the marketplaces. He put posters almost everywhere with directions to the assembly hall. He tried not to record any videos in case anyone back home would see them and be able to trace his whereabouts. The religious meetings took place every Wednesday and Saturday. Before the meetings, my dad would just make up a long persuasive story, then ask people to contribute money. They believed anything. So we had so many thousands of people coming to the services that we needed to change to a bigger venue. My parents were extremely proud of themselves. But of course,
This dance symbolizes the villagers' relationship with the sounds of the volcano, like harmonizing with the primal forces of nature.
Who the heck cares about this?
So all of these dances and everything.
they still wanted more. One night while planning for a service the next day, my dad called me into his office. Hey, darling, tomorrow I might say something a bit weird, but please just play along, alright? He said. I asked him to explain, but he wouldn't, so I went to bed confused. During the service the next day, I had a real shock. My dad was going on and on about his stupid magical leaf when he claimed to have had a dream the night before. In this dream, it was revealed to me that not only am I the chosen prophet, but my daughter Caroline is actually a goddess in human form. Everyone gasped and looked at me. It was also revealed to me that anyone who touches her forehead will receive whatever they wish for, he said. I wanted to throw something at him. Someone brought a chair and placed it in the middle of the stage. Goddess, please come to sit here, my dad said. I got up and went to sit in the chair. I have placed a basket next to the chair. Anyone who touches her forehead must make a monetary contribution. Please place your contribution into the basket. The bigger your contribution, the faster your wish will be answered, he said. At least 100 people got up instantly. Oh my gosh, what is he doing? I thought. I was horrified because I'd always been a sort of a germaphobe. I was completely grossed out by the idea of having people with unwashed hands touch me, especially my face. But I sat there silently and allowed hundreds of people to touch my forehead. When it was all over, the basket was overflowing with money.
God.
After my dad ended the service and everyone left, my dad said, "Thanks. You're the best daughter. Look at all this money we made." "Yippee," said my mom. "If we continue doing this, we'll have millions in no time," my dad said. For the next service, my dad decided that I would have to sit on the stage from the beginning. My chair was decorated and I was given a beautiful dress and a crown. People touched my head again and the basket overflowed again. Coincidentally, the first 5 people who made a wish had their wishes granted. They went and told other people how genuine my father's religion was, and that brought in more people who wanted to touch my head. The whole island believed that I was a goddess, but I just felt used. After the first month, my dad decided to tell people that they'd have to pay a minimum of $100 to touch me. This caused my parents to make even more money. Although I was extremely unhappy, I continued playing along because realistically, what else could I do? "Hey, darling," my father said while we were having breakfast one morning. "So we're thinking of expanding to a nearby island. I will have someone to manage the affairs there, but you will need to travel back and forth. If the people on the other island touch your forehead too, imagine how much more money we can make." This was sort of the last straw for me.
Wait, you're gonna make your daughter travel back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Or sorry, a 50-year-old travel back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, just for people to touch their head to make their mom and dad rich? Criminals, mostly. Yeah, that doesn't sound right.
So angry, I could have popped a few veins. I nodded in agreement, but in my head I had begun planning my revenge. We had a service the next day, but before I got ready, I packed my favorite backpack with everything I would need. I put my passport, clothes, toiletries, a few books, and a lot of cash in there, then placed it under my bed. At the service, I went to my chair at the front. My father gave his usual made-up story, and when he was about to announce to the crowd that they could touch me, I got up and grabbed the microphone. "I really believe that all of you should know the truth. I am not a goddess. If your wish came true, that's purely coincidental. My parents are scammers. We only came here because my dad was running from the police. He is not a real prophet. How can you all believe a stupid story about a leaf falling on someone's head? Stop allowing yourself to be controlled. And please, save your money," I said. My parents stared at me. They looked bewildered. I threw the microphone on the floor and walked out of the building. I went back home to get my backpack. Then I went to buy myself a plane ticket back home. There were no flights that day.
See, that's a good person. Get out of there.
So I had to sleep in the old airport. It felt like forever, but I finally got back to my own country. I used a payphone to call my favorite aunt, and I let her know everything. I told her I had no place to stay, so she told me to wait and she'd come for me right away. Right now, I've been able to go back to my ordinary life. I'm back at school, and I've been reunited with all of my friends. I told the police everything, and they immediately sent their teams to the island to look for my family, but they weren't successful. I guess they're on the run again. I don't really know what they're up to, and sometimes I really worry about my baby brother. But I hope that when he's old enough, he'll gather the strength to leave them too. I prefer to live an honest life, and I...
Okay, well, guys, that was a really good video in time there. And yeah, I'm going to make another one after this one here. Just here, I'll turn on the light. There we go. Wow, that's bright. Guys, have a beautiful day. Please like and subscribe, just like what she said in the video. That was such a good story. And yeah, see you guys later. Bye.